HMO, commercial valuations, or brick and mortar valuations. If you're wondering what the difference is between these, don't wonder anymore, because in this video we're going to break down and explain exactly the difference between a commercial valuation and a bricks and mortar valuation, and we're going to show you and share with you a handy little tool how you can calculate commercial valuations. So I'm Harvey, I'm a property investor. I've built an all-weather property portfolio with multiple different strategies, with foundation of buy-to-lets at the bottom, but in there I've got some HMOs. And with HMOs, when you start dwelling into the commercial valuation, this gives you the ability to bid on properties above asking price, because you're going to get above a bricks and mortar valuation. So first of all, what is a bricks and mortar valuation? It's basically what the houses sell in that street, and that is your bricks and mortar valuation. But with commercial valuations, you can push this through them ceilings. And how you do this is by getting a valuation based on the rental income, not on the comparable sold prices. So this only happens in certain areas, and there's certain criteria you have to match to do this. And as I said, I'm going to share with you a tool in a minute that's going to help you calculate that as well, and show you how you calculate that. But basically, the criteria, what comes to this is it needs to be a purposeful HMO. So this gives you a quick breakdown example. You could take a property that you buy for £300,000, and if you turn it into an all-purpose HMO, usually sui generis, which is when you get planning permission to take it from a C3 or to a C4 to a sui generis. So basically reverse engineering that. C3 is a residential home under planning, C4 is a HMO under permitted development, anything up to 6 bedrooms, and sui generis is above 7 bedrooms. So anything above 7 bedrooms has to be a commercial valuation, because it's no longer a family home. And banks are comfortable giving commercial valuations on these because you can't reverse it back to a family home too easy. So what they do is you could take a home for £300,000. The comparables in that street are 350, needs some work doing to it, maybe 30 grand spending on it. Maybe they're 320 in that street. They might be in 310. So you can pay 300k on a property and spend 150k on that, even though the comparables in that street are around 300k, knowing that you're going to force the value up based on the commercial valuation. If you spent 150k, say turn it into a 7 or 8 bedroom HMO, then you're probably going to force the value up of a building like this to around sort of like 650, 750. So there's a significant jump up from the bricks and mortar. Little caveat here, you've got to be prepared for the downside. So you've got to look at the long term of this. Exiting these sort of deals, not often people will pay you the same amount of money to buy this as they would on a commercial valuation. So sometimes trying to sell these could be a little bit more difficult, although there is buyers that will buy based on yield. The other little caveat with that is if it doesn't work as a HMO, you are way above the bricks and mortar and you're exposed quite a bit if it doesn't work as a HMO. And this is why I talk about building an all-weather portfolio. Get some single lets from most people, then build up to your HMOs once you've got the revenue from this and the support and the protection if things do go wrong. Because when you do bigger developments, there is bigger chance of things going wrong. But little pros with this, as I said, you can overpay for properties. You can also get development finance from banks. So you could get into these, not for no money. You do need typically about 25-30% as a deposit down. But if the end numbers stack up, they will give you a development finance to do the development work. Obviously that will eat into your margins, but also you can get these valued at the start as well. So you can get an end valuation on this before you get started, so you'll know where it's at. So how do these valuations work? What they work on is basically a yield basis. So usually if you buy a normal family home, you're basically going to say, hey, a 10, 12, 15% yield is better. But with a HMO, the lower the yield in that location, the better that is. And how they calculate these yields is on the strength of the tenant type, the demand in the area for rooms. So if you go to a little area in a village in the middle of nowhere, they're not going to give you a good yield. They're going to give you a high yield, which gives you a smaller multiplier. And how they multiply this rental income is basically, say you take your yearly income, take 20 to 30% off for running costs, you then divide that by the yield you're going to get. So say your yield is 10. If you've got 20 grand per year income, you divide that by 10, you times that by 100, and you get the valuation, which would be a £200,000 valuation. So let's take you to this calculator here and let's show you the difference between these different ones. As I said, the yields will differ in different areas on demand, the strength of the tenant, the different profile of the building. And as I said, some buildings, just before we jump into the yield, some buildings you can get this on 6 bedrooms as long as they're all en suite. And you can, like, what they want to see is you cannot convert this back to a family home too easily, because if the banks lend against this and they lend you, for example, they lend you like 400,000 on a 200,000 pound house, and you turn it back to a family home, they're overexposed and they're going to be difficult to get their money back. So some 6 bedrooms you can get this, and in some areas if you've got a high amount of HMOs like student ones, you sometimes get a hybrid model where they take the rent in account alongside taking in the bricks and mortar. But as I said, when you delve into the sui generis stuff, it's guaranteed or based on rental, and different areas will give you different calculations. If Property Data has got a part in there where it tells you the rough yields that you get in rough different sort of areas of the UK. In the link below, I'll put in a link for Property Data. But let's show you this quick calculator that shows you the difference on this. So if you've got a monthly income here of 3k, that's £36,000 a year. If you do the running cost at 20%, and again, this just differs from surveyor to surveyor. Some surveyors will give better yields, some surveyors will give higher running costs. Different surveyors will take different things into account. But let's say 25% running costs, and that gives us a net yearly income of 27,000. At 10% yield, that's giving us 270,000. But look, if you play around with these yields, there's some areas in the UK where people are getting 7% yields. So that jumps that valuation up to 385,000. It's a significant difference when you're doing the BRR strategy and trying to recycle your funds. And again, some yields in some areas always go all the way to around 12%. So let's have a look at the difference there. Look, massive drop down, 225,000. So your yield in the area is going to have a massive impact on what you can do. But this is commercial valuations as opposed to bricks and mortar. And again, this is what makes HMO values go up in recessions when a lot of houses are dropping, because usually in a recession, rent prices are going up. So then as the rent prices go up, so does the calculation on this at the back end. So I hope you found it useful. If you want this calculator, comment below calculator and I'll send you over a link for it for absolutely free. No emails or anything needed like that. If you want to hit that subscribe button right now, it really helps this channel. Make sure you watch this video here, because this is going to help you get to that next level. And remember, if you don't evolve your ideas, you'll never live on your own terms. So evolve your ideas, live on your own terms, and have an amazing day.